just been pulling our hair out trying to get parts and trying to find the right people to help us, and it's not an easy thing to do in a really remote place like the Solomon Islands.
This is the story of a sailboat named Sylvia and the ragtag crew that call her home. Join us each week as we explore our planet, both above and below the surface, and find out what it's really like to live a life at sea. This is Expedition Drenched.
We are in Tokyo Bay. We came here from Tulagi yesterday. Yeah, it's another beautiful morning. It's no wind at all, and the water is so still that you can even see the birds reflecting and flying in the clouds and everything. And it's only a couple of us awake. These two cuties over here. Who's liking her wraps? Oi, oi, oi.
We should have known by now that everything here in the Solomon Islands is always different than what you expect. We had made the short trip over from Tulagi to Tokyo Bay because we heard there was a big shipyard where we could get some work done on Sylvia. In the Western world, a shipyard means this. But in the Solomons, a shipyard means this. Nestled in the middle of wild oceanside jungle, dotted with World War II shipwrecks patrolled by saltwater crocodiles, is one of the most prominent and downright magical shipyards in all of the Solomon Islands.
We haven't really been filming a lot lately, and that's because we've been super busy on board. We've actually spent the last couple weeks dealing with some pretty major problems on Sylvia. The biggest of which being that our engine has been overheating a lot lately, and we've just been pulling our hair out trying to get parts and trying to find the right people to help us, and it's not an easy thing to do in a really remote place like the Solomon Islands. One of the things that we suspect is contributing to our overheating problems is that we're actually due to change out the coolant of the engine. And the problem though is that we need 200 liters of coolant, and it hasn't been so easy to track it down. But we got a hold of a company in Honiara, which is the biggest city in the Solomon Islands, and they've been able to round up enough of it for us. So we're actually going to send a couple people from the crew today. They're going to head over to Honiara in a banana boat, which are like the local boats that ferry people and goods back and forth between the islands, and they're going to see if they can get it back to us out here in Tokyo Bay.
We are leaving for a big city in the purpose of buying stuff for the boat and people and markets. We may bring the two things that are gonna fix the compressor and the engine.
We just arrived in Honiara with the banana boat, which was actually quite a good experience. It was very fast. We saw some dolphins on the way. So, private collection. Most of the people want chocolate, a lot of chocolate for Emily, also some for Nerea, and cheese. Let's go.
And we have 200 liters.
200 liters of engine coolant.
Now we have to figure out how to go to Florida Island back because it's 200 kilos. It's gonna be funny to see the faces of the banana boat rider.
A full car! How did it go, guys?
It goes pretty well.
Okay.
So we'll have to take that out.
Yes, suck the liquid out there.
What did you just show that?
So there's a pipe that goes from the cooling system down into the keel, and there's tubes that run all through the keel where the water is going through, and the temperature of the ocean and the water is helping, you know, in combination with coolant and a heat exchanger and a few other elements of the system. It's what we use to keep the temperature of the engine at a reasonable temperature.
We pumped 165 liters of coolant into jugs for disposal before filling her right back up with the new coolant. After inspecting our handiwork, we also found a few leaks in the system, which became a huge job on its own. The days and buckets of sweat rolled by, and it didn't really feel like our to-do list was getting any shorter. But luckily, the ocean has a way of cheering you up when you least expect it.
It was finally the first non-rainy night in a while, so like everyone's outside. It's like a full-on campsite out there. So, and Peanut loves to go around from bed to bed and like sniff everybody and rub her snout in everybody's face. So I made like a little GoPro harness for her. So it's gonna set her loose outside and see what kind of cuddles she gets into. We're in a very cool anchorage right here. There's like a really cool village that's just wrapping along the shoreline right in front of the reef, and you can hear all the kids running around and yelling, and roosters and insects. There's birds flying around, fish jumping out of the water. It's a very cool way to wake up, which is good because the last few days on board have been, let's call them, trying. Lately it just feels like anything that can break on Sylphia will break and has broken. It's easy to get very frustrated and feel overwhelmed at times. It's definitely been kind of a humbling experience because, you know, like everything's gone pretty well for us so far this season. We thought like, yeah, we got this, and then a couple, you know, big setbacks happen and you feel like, fuck, we still don't know what we're doing. Just have to be patient, remind ourselves of all of the many amazing blessings that we have in our lives, and just keep on tinkering away. So yeah, let's see what we can fix today, and let's see what the day brings for us.
We found out later that the guys in the shipyard were actually taking the day off. So with nowhere to go and nothing to do, we decided to go to our happy place for the afternoon, the deep blue ocean.
So we are a really cool dive spot today. We're at the HMNZ Her Majesty's New Zealand ship, Moa, which is a World War II wreck. It rests at about 40 meters, 120 feet, and she's got a little bit of a special story. She was commissioned out of Scotland by the Royal Navy and sent to New Zealand, and it came up to Vanuatu, and when it arrived to Guadalcanal, it was actually one of the first ships that was just waiting while the Japanese actually took over a lot of Solomons. And she's most famous for her and her sister ship, the Kiwi, actually were able to detect a 300-foot submarine, Japanese submarine, and how they were able to detect it is the bioluminescence of the submarine. So the submarine was going through the water and they could clearly see the submarine because it was moving all that bioluminescence. Probably something they didn't think about. And so they sent down a bunch of depth charges, which forced the I-1 submarine to come to the surface, and then gunfire ensued, and then shortly after, the Kiwi actually rammed the I-1 submarine. They sank it, and we're going to be diving that one later on, so we'll show you that one. And then the Moa ended up here in Tulagi, where she was getting some repairs and fueling up, and then a huge squadron of bombers and Japanese fighter planes came and just swarmed the area, and a bomb went right through the hull of the Moa and then exploded in the water below it, and she sank very quickly. I think 6 officers died when that explosion happened, so a lot of men still made it off, which is good. But we're gonna go check her out and just revisit a piece of history. So let's go.
As humans, it's easy to create a disconnect with events from the past. Looking at a sunken minesweeper, my mind goes to the military operations it undertook, the missions it went on, the role it played in both the loss and protection of life. But when I really stop and think of everything the ship and the men who called her home have been through, it's a reminder that they were salty citizens of the sea, just like us. The Moa's voyage from Scotland to New Zealand took over 5 months. They traveled through many of the same stunning South Pacific waters that we sailed through, woke up to breathtaking sunrises on the open ocean, faced challenges and uncertainty, dealt with engine problems in remote places, argued with their bunkmates, got seasick. The Moa, which is now a lionfish mansion 40 meters below the surface, was once the entire world for her 35 crew, just like Sylvia is to us. It's a pretty cool way to connect to history, and a reminder that the power of the shared human experience knows no bounds. Whether you were born in 1902 or 2002, we're all cut from the same cloth. Tune in next time as we join John and his family for one hell of a party and get a taste of local life in the Florida Islands.
No.
Oh, I don't even know what are you trying to say.
I can't even help you.
I don't actually know what you're trying to say.
You know, the animal that
Groundhog? Where when he sees his shadow and then you have winter for longer?
groundhog. Say it again.
Red dog. Morale is a bit low on Sophia the last few days. Peanut, I'm trying to vlog. I'm trying to vlog.
So we are at the we are at the HMN. Hold on.
So morale has been a bit low on Sophia for the last couple days. So today I wanted to do something that's maybe a bit silly, but I just thought it would be really cute and it would cheer everybody up. So the other day we found the biggest papaya ever seen on the planet. It's as big as peanut, and we thought it would be cute to just cut it in half and put Peanut inside the papaya and let her just go crazy eating it. And we normally keep her on a pretty strict diet without too much fruit and too much sugar because she gets a little bit crazy about food. But I don't know, everybody deserves a little treat every once in a while, and Peanut is gonna have her best day of her life today. So just to put things in perspective a little bit, here is the lovely Miss Peanut, and here is the papaya. Is it as big as her?
More or less, actually.
Yeah, I think it's as big as her body, like without her head.
I'm very excited for Peanut to have the experience of a lifetime. If I could get in a bathtub of my favorite food, I would be pretty stoked too.
Yeah.
What would that food be?
Tacos from
Tacos. If I could
if
get,
you could get a taco from Prohibition that's the size of your body.
Yeah, it's like a bathtub, and if I could lay in it and eat it, yeah. So I think we should give that gift to Peanut.
Blink! Good girl! She's ready! She's ready! Okay, let's go. And go!
The hairs on her neck are like standing up. She's in warthog mode. Is that it?
Oh,
is that all you got, Peanut?
Taste it now. She's done. She's done. That's it. Oh, I'm disappointed, Peanut.
Thoughts about the event?
I'm surprised how much self-control she has, for real. I was imagining all of this in her belly.
Oh, look at that happy tail, though.
It's actually done.
She's out.
She's tapping out. She's walking away. I want a bathtub of tacos now.